Making Life Brighter, and we have a drop-in supplement for you. I promised that, and actually tonight was supposed to be a very special evening with Russell-J. Gould, but that's been moved back to next week on Wednesday. And so for those of you that are anticipating being able to ask questions, please come with some great questions next Wednesday on the 24th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time and 5 p.m. Pacific Time. So right here on Making Life Brighter, we're going to live stream. We're going to talk about the state of the world and whatever it is that he needs to deliver and say. And so I invite you to come in and bring your questions at that time. And today we are going to visit back to Sophia Mona Lisa. And Sophia has a very special drop that she'd like to give us. But before we get to that, some of you have been following along on Facebook, and you know that that I had a strange encounter the other night. And I did, in fact. I had a very odd experience the other day where something caught my eye in the middle of the day, and I saw this beautiful corona, and it was a corona around the sun that was a rainbow. It was really magnificent. They had done heavy chem things in the sky that day, and so that created a line, and then there was a beautiful line that came down through. And you could see that. You can look on Making Life Brighter on Facebook to check that out. And you'll see the little orb in it. And then you'll see a little strange white line at the top left corner of that. Well, later that night, I went out to call in my animals, and I caught the evening sky, which was beautiful and clear. And then I noticed something moving toward me. And it was like a large body of lights that were in a linear line. And it was silent. It was absolutely moving toward me. And it looked like in that picture, it was coming out of where the X was in that picture almost. And it moved toward me directly, almost over me, and then moved over toward the next house over. When I went to film it, my screen turned purple and it disappeared. It completely disappeared. And this thing had no wings, no body, nothing that I could identify in that way. But it was massive. It was giant. It was very long, and it fits the look of what you see in the upper left corner of that corona picture, only in the daytime. So I posted also there on Facebook. Someone else saw it and someone else caught it on camera, and you can see it there. So go check that out and see what that is, because I don't know, trippy things are starting to happen. I have no idea, but that was really odd. And then my face was burned from this side down, and you don't see that through makeup and stuff, but it was peeled all day and craziness. So someone please explain what's going on. Anyway, we have a great update today, and I just want to alert you, we have some huge drops coming. I have a real crazy one for you this weekend that's going to make you think. So where everybody's into all the Q drops and things, well, this is going to be a huge quantum style Q drop. So stay tuned for that, because I have a special guest that's going to correlate things maybe that you've never thought of. And it's amazing. So today we have Sophia back at Sophia, Mona Lisa. Hi, come on in, Sophia. Can you see us? Here we are. Hello. Okay, so Sophia.
Yes. Hello.
There you are. Okay. All right. So Sophia, you have an update for us. Go ahead with your update. Let's hear what you have to share with us and why this window is so vital.
Well, so we kind of touched on it in our last discussion, but now, of course, it's transpired. Whereas yesterday, Jupiter made its move from 29 degrees of Aries into Taurus, crossed that threshold to 0 degrees of Taurus. And I did a video about this. It's on my my YouTube channel, but there are pieces about that came to me after I did the video that I think are really important to speak to. And so one of the things that we have to understand about Jupiter is that it's known as the cosmic guru. And this is incredible because, you know, I've talked about how Uranus has been moving through Taurus. It'll be about 8 years by the time Uranus leaves Taurus. And a couple of years from now, Sedna's been in Taurus. The goddess Sedna, she's been there for 56 years. That's most of my life.
You have
She's
your goddess
approaching.
behind you there, right on your
Yes, my
perch.
that's Romeo.
Hello, Romeo.
He's the Maine Coon cat.
He's holding court today.
He always holds court. Whenever I come online, he has to be up there to oversee things. But the goddess Sedna is approaching that 29-degree mastery point of Taurus. And so with Jupiter as the cosmic guru, you could say that when Jupiter goes through Taurus, then those frequencies are a master class for that year that Jupiter is in Taurus. Jupiter's just left Aries, was in Aries for a year. That was a master class of Aries. And as I've discussed with you before, the shamanic medicine of Aries is self-love. And so 29 degrees of Aries to 0 degrees of Taurus, we're going to be having this master class related to our inner guru. Jupiter's the cosmic guru. He is going to be giving us a master class on how to more fully embody our inner guru. And our inner guru, however it is that you relate to that, for me, I relate to it as the Sophia Christ consciousness. It's creating the space within us to be able to embody more and more of these multi-dimensional frequencies that are coming into us from the quantum, through Uranus, through Sedna, taking everything that we've had within us to work with in this 3D reality, and she's completely transmuting them into tools that we can use in 5D and above. And so our inner guru is going to be teaching us how we can use those 5D plus tools that we are embodying within us. So this is a really big piece about that Jupiter move into Taurus that I didn't speak to in the video that I did, that's really significant for people to understand. And from my perspective, you know, I've talked about how when Jupiter engages frequencies, and you meet Jupiter in that engagement, that when Jupiter moves on, he always leaves us a boon. This is a sacred gift. In my opinion, the reason he leaves us the boon is because it's a masterclass. It's something that you've graduated from in terms of your engagement with Jupiter. So I'm really excited about this new piece that's coming up for the next year.
I love this. So what does it speak to in terms of the timing of what you see playing out in the world as a whole? So that's the micro. What's the macro, and how does that fit from your perspective?
So this is all a part of humanity's quantum leap forward in our evolution. You know, I mentioned in my video that when Jupiter moves into Taurus, it's closely aspecting the North Node. The North Node is one of the lunar nodes. The lunar nodes move in pairs, the North Node in Taurus, the South Node in Scorpio. So they move together in pairs. Well, you know, the North Node and the South Node have been on that Taurus Scorpio axis for the past year and a half, helping us to align with the frequencies of that path, which is the path of intensity, which is all about this Kundalini movement within us that awakens us. Well, now the North Node is getting ready to shift into Aries. On July 18th, it goes back to that 29 degrees of Aries, where Taurus was standing before it made its ingress, where Jupiter was standing before it made its ingress into Taurus, reactivating that mastery of the self-love, reactivating the very first eclipse that we had on that Aries Libra axis, the path of conscious equal partnership, that eclipse that happened in April at that 29 degrees of Aries mark. So humanity is getting this huge push forward in terms of our evolutionary leap in a quantum way. We just had on May 9th, which isn't that long ago, that Uranus Sun conjunction in Taurus. For me personally, that was a big push forward in a very creative way. You know, Taurus is in the mundane world known for the creative arts, art, music, you know, those beautiful things that we engage with the art world. It's all about the creation, the fecundity of the earth that allows creation to come forward. And when Uranus and Sun came together, it was like a plasma wave that just whoosh, went out across our solar system, and it takes you over, right? Like a tsunami, whoosh, that plasma wave. And if you're aligned at an energetic level, if your vibrational set point is high enough and aligned with that plasma wave that came, all of a sudden, boom, all of this creative activity starts to pour forth from you. And if you're not aligned, then all of those places within you that need to catch up real soon, and those are the lower frequencies, all of a sudden you start seeing people acting out in really bizarro ways because they've been triggered at that deep core level, right? The other side of Taurus is Scorpio. We're talking deep core emotional wounds that get triggered that have to come into the light. So this whole period of time is about humanity having this quantum leap forward in our evolution. And there's all of these signs in the sky pointing directly to that from my perspective.
I love this. I could hear you speak about this all the time because there's so much to learn. You have a lot of nuggets that you bring forward. And, you know, we're stepping into some very timely things. And if time is no more, technically, according to Russell, one thing that we do know is that the word timing has a place in space, and everything is run on timelines. So everything in transshipment is run on timelines, 10-day timelines, 45-day timelines, 90-day timelines, things like that. And people in general don't know this, but we're going to explore that some more because he speaks of it often in his videos. And why that's important to what you're saying is that he's always running timelines, and the opposite side is also always running timelines. So what's really going on? I'm not sure, but we're going to find out. And we're going to have an interesting address next week on Wednesday night here at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So bring your questions so you can ask the Commander-in-Chief, Russell-J. Cool-Gold, your questions about anything, whatever you'd like to ask. So, Sophia, I want to say thank you for this amazing drop. Is there anything else that you might like people to know in terms of what's upcoming?
It's my pleasure to be here, honestly. And what I will let people be aware of, I mentioned briefly that the goddess Sedna has been making her journey across Taurus. It'll be 56 years by the time she completes that. Well, next year, 2024, is when she moves from Taurus into Gemini. And so all of this work that she's been doing within our sacred vessels, within our physical bodies, now she's going to start doing in the mental realm with the lower mind. And so you will start seeing all of these people that you're looking at around you wondering, why aren't they waking up to this reality? When Sedna starts moving into Gemini, boom. When Uranus starts moving into Gemini, boom. These people are going to be having massive awakenings.
Well, hopefully there won't be anything catastrophic or troubling, because I know that, let's just recap what's going on around us. Number one, this week is a very volatile week for earthquakes. The lineup of big earthquakes off the coast of California, down in Indonesia. Just the whole of the world is heating up right now. And there's lots of warnings out because even Yellowstone's moving. There's a cluster that's going on in a lake up in California, which is also another flatbed. There's so much that's happening underneath us. It may not always be political. It may be maybe geospatial. It may also be kind of the earth flux, the magnetosphere changing, and then like you're talking about, those plasma waves are going to set off a reaction. So we've already seen some of that. It's now in motion, and you're saying there will come a boom. Well, the boom could be a plasma wave, the boom could be, you know, something that happens in society, or all the above. Someone could be moved because the earth underneath them is moving and they don't know that, but they can feel the energy. So
Right.
there's quite a bit playing on us right now that we need to pay attention to and kind of be prepared for, because those fires that just happened, according to Dutch sense, those fires didn't happen from the top down, they happened from the bottom up. So there's energy happening from the bottom up that's taking place. And that's a concept that people need to understand as well. There's much more going on than meets the eye, but there are some things you can count on, and timelines is one of them. And we will get into that next week. We'll get into that a little bit more on Friday, when I have this super Q style quantum disclosure going on, and we'll talk about numbers, we'll talk about timelines, we'll talk about a lot of things. It's really fascinating, so I thought you'd want to hear it. And then we'll have you back, Sophia, and you two can weigh in on each other's work. It's amazing. So there's something to it, because it's not random right now in this window. This window is one of the most powerful windows ever on the planet, right here in this, now from May until August of this year. Now, I don't know why I feel that. You're explaining why, but I know that to be true in my heart and soul. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And of course, that July 18th date, when the North Node crosses over that threshold of Taurus and stands at that 29 degrees of Aries, is pretty close to that timeline that you're mentioning from now until August. So certainly correlates with each other.
well, everybody's in this like personal growth stage, and sort of there's a momentum to that. They're moving into trying to get their life into the next phase. And every time we get these plasma hits and these solar flares that come off the sun, everything gets rearranged. Now, mind you, we had a few eclipses. We've had quite a bit of activity that's very rare in the last month. So in summary, Sophia, could you tell everybody again, even if they're new coming in, just what those eclipses did in lieu of the window that's coming?
Well, again, so the whole purpose of eclipses is to get everybody back on their evolutionary track. And so I use the analogy of the Grand Prix raceway ride out at Disney World. You know, you get in your little race car and there's this metal beam that goes down your track to keep you from driving off into the lanes of the other people on the Grand Prix. And this is what the eclipses do. They get us back on track. And so, you know, we've been having it'll be 2.5 years of eclipses on the Taurus Scorpio axis. Again, that's that path of intensity. It's the awakening of that Kundalini within us. You know, the awakening of the Kundalini is how the mystics talk about achieving moksha, liberation. And now we're going to be having for 2 years these eclipses on the Aries Libra path, this path of conscious equal partnership. Well, if you haven't been awakened by the Kundalini, you're not going to be prepared to even think about a consciousness field around being in equal partnership with each other. So there is a lot of expansion in terms of humanity being pushed forward to that leading edge of where we're evolving to. And
I love that.
We're in that period of time where we're shifting from those eclipses on the Taurus Scorpio axis into the eclipses on the Aries Libra axis. And the final eclipse on Taurus Scorpio axis is at the end of October. And so these eclipses have a window of 6 months. So from that October eclipse forward 6 months, you can expect to see big changes in terms of this transition between these two axes.
Is it going to get better though?
I always look at everything getting better.
All right, we'll take that.
The more that you can expand your inner space and hold more of your multidimensional self within your body, the better it gets. Where people are now, they are grounding more of themselves on this planet than they have ever been able to hold on this planet in any other lifetime.
Love it. Well,
That's
here
a
we
good
go,
thing.
because this is the window we came for, folks.
Yes.
Now, as we go through this photon belt and our galaxy is actually colliding with another one. So they're finding all these extra moons and planets and things suddenly, but it's not really sudden. It's just that it's being absorbed. It's moving down into another space and sphere. And here we are, we're merging. And that's a really appropriate analogy for kind of what's upcoming here, because like she said, if you don't pick up and integrate the incoming plasma waves, it'll be a challenge to operate easily unless you do. And so up leveling is what is needed, or coming into a place of true balance. So thank you for being back with us, Sophia. It's wonderful to have you.
Thank you.
And we will talk to you again very, very soon. And everybody, I'm asking you to share it far and wide. I'll put out a link on the YouTube posts. So subscribe there and you'll get the email update with that link. And on the post, you can take next week's link and share it so people can come in and ask their questions when we go live next week. It's going to be something very, very important that he is needing to share. And it's going to be a time where you can really get those questions answered too. So looking forward to seeing you there, but I'll look forward to being with you again on Friday. And boy, are we going to have an interesting mind stretching conversation on Friday. It's amazing. Wait till you hear this. And then we just have a lot going on right now. It's beautiful. So stay tuned, everybody. Thank you for being here at Making Life Brighter. Again, thank you to full colon Sophia, full colon Mona Lisa. And we've been together now exploring her work, and that's wonderful. And then we will be back with more on Friday. Go jolly and make somebody else's life brighter. Thank you for listening.